Doñana National Park in southern Spain, one of the most important wetlands in Europe. This natural area of more than 100,000 hectares is a key stopover for 6 million migratory birds flying each year between Europe and Africa. It's also home to several rare and endangered species. The park, on UNESCO's World Heritage List, boasts a mosaic of landscapes and ecosystems, beaches, wetlands, and dunes. But scientific studies warn that climate change is gradually turning Doñana into a desert. Francisco Borja, professor at the University of Huelva, explains how.
Most of Doñana's lagoons feed on groundwater. Climate change will mean less rainfall and a decrease in water table levels. Therefore, lagoons like the one where we stand will have more and more trouble filling up on water each winter.
Charco del Toro tengan cada vez más problemas para recargarse cada invierno.
Environmental scientists and NGOs say shrinking water supplies, combined with overuse of groundwater by local farmers and nearby urbanization, have already caused lagoons like Charco del Toro, or this one, El Zahilo, to dry up.
Active dunes are sand masses coming up from the beach, moved by the wind that advance towards the continent, and as we see, end up burying these pines. It's forecast that the rise in sea level that will accompany climate change over the next decades will result in a reactivation of the wind processes that make up the fundamental process of its genesis.
Componen el alma fundamental, el proceso fundamental de su génesis.
The more arid climate and rising sea level are playing tricks in Doñana. While new dunes are forming and encroaching on the park's pine woods, by the coast, where the dunes should be, they're disappearing.
Global warming has an immediate effect, raising sea levels. In the case of the coastal dunes of Doñana, this rise in sea level is causing their disappearance. This footbridge on which I stand was built just 20 years ago behind a coastal dune that no longer exists. We're in front of Lucio del Membrillo, one of the best-known areas of the marshes of Doñana. Climate change will bring about a reduction in rainfall, and with it a shortening of the period when this marsh is flooded. This will also lead to changes in the level of salt and other chemical parameters that will affect the fauna and flora of this area. In the marshes of Doñana, there are areas such as the one where we stand, which are flooded every day by the tide. These types of sea marshes are rare today, but the expected rise of sea levels caused by climate change means we'll be seeing more of them going forward.
These greenhouses are just outside the national park. The farmlands around Doñana produce 70% of the strawberries grown in Spain. Add to that mining activities and a nearby golf course, and Doñana is getting very thirsty. The Worldwide Fund for Nature has warned that over 80% of Doñana's marsh has been lost since the beginning of the 20th century, and it's now only getting a fifth of the water it needs.